Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. And thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. I love it when some people think that they are untouchable and something happens to them, especially those conservatives and those Uncle Rucos that think that, that proximity to whiteness also make them white. They think because, I can do anything to my community and I am going to get away with it, but then they do some certain things too, and then they don't get away with it. I love it for them, right? So now let's get into this video. New York City Mayor Adams, right, is being indicted. Over corruption investigation, right? And I think this is, though the indictment is sealed, it is not yet unsealed, but it definitely will be unsealed yesterday. But it is in kind of connected allegedly to a Turkish. I think they took some money from Turkish government during his election or something like that, right? So that is allegedly, right? So this man is actually, he came out to debunk the whatever, saying that the government is after his integrity, and whatever the government got to say about him is actually not true, right? And some of his own people, like people that do the way he also does, also came out to tell us that it is Joe Biden's administration that is after him because he's against illegal migrants and all that. Let's get into.
So this is a day for Is This You videos. Eric Adams, is this you? The Democratic mayor of the largest city in the United States? And today you became the first sitting mayor of the city of New York to be indicted by the feds? Eric L. Adams, the L stands for Leroy, a retired police captain who was elected as New York City's 110th mayor nearly 3 years ago on a promise to rein in crime, has been indicted following a federal corruption investigation. The indictment is still under seal at this moment. It is expected to be opened sometime tomorrow. And when it does, Eric Adams will become the first New York City mayor to be criminally charged while in office. People often ask me why have I always been so critical of Eric Adams, especially a man who declared himself to be the future of the Democratic Party. And I had to remind them that I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. And I also had to remind them, while they were hailing him as the future of the Democratic Party, that Eric Adams was a Republican from 1997 to 2001.
Listen, I knew this day was coming. I knew this day was coming when the bling pastor mentioned Mayor Eric Adams. I knew this day was coming. Y'all remember the bling pastor, Bishop Lamore Whitehead? I know y'all remember this man. Remember, he was the flashy pastor in New York where his church got robbed in the middle of service while he was streaming live the service? Bishop Lamore Whitehead. He got a taste of all of the attention because his story went viral. And so he continuously did things, said things to continue to go viral. And in all of his talking and running his mouth, he was saying things about him being tied to and connected to Mayor Eric Adams. And while he's continuing to flap his gums, people were talking about how much of a scam artist he is, about how he has stolen money from some of his parishioners. And so the Department of Justice opened up an investigation into him. He has been charged. He has gone to trial. I believe he's been found guilty. Yep, I knew once a relationship between this scam artist, this thief, a man who stole the life savings of an elderly woman that was a part of his church, a member of his church. I knew this was going to soon follow. An investigation has been happening into Mayor Eric Adams for a while now. I remember seeing reports where they confiscated his phones and they were doing searches here and there. I knew this day was coming. And last night it dropped that New York City Mayor, Mayor Eric Adams, has been indicted. We don't know what the charges are because the indictment is still sealed. But once they unseal that indictment, I'll let you know what he's been charged with. But he did come out and put out a statement.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target. And a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
I perused through the article to see if there was a hint of what they were investigating him for. And I saw something about him possibly taking bribes from Turkey and him being tied to a heavy Turkey population in New York. What it's all about, I don't know. But the indictment is supposed to be unsealed today. So, yeah. Lastly, if you don't know anything about this character here, the bling pastor, you can find this article and go on over and read it, and it gives you all of the information. I knew once he was tied to Mayor Eric Adams that the downfall of Mayor Eric Adams would soon follow. And here we are.
This comment is cracking me up because the way I even found out about this was I opened TikTok and Hannah had made a video that was like Eric Adams just was indicted on federal charges at like a Democratic Socialist of America happy hour or some shit. And I was like, there's just like no fucking way. Like, this is crazy. But yeah, as this comment is indicating, Eric Adams is indicted after federal corruption investigation. This shit just happened like an hour ago. This indictment, it states that this indictment remained sealed on Wednesday night and it was unclear what charge or charges Mr. Adams will face, but the federal investigation has focused, at least in part, on whether Mr. Adams and his campaign conspired with the Turkish government to receive illegal foreign donations. When the indictment is made public, Mr. Adams will become the first New York City mayor to face a federal charge while in office. I'm so glad to see that he decided to follow in the footsteps of Andrew Cuomo and Rudy Giuliani.
Eric Adams is definitely being targeted by the Biden administration for speaking out about the illegal immigration situation that is going on in New York City. Let's break all of this down here. Now, remember, it was either earlier this year or maybe late last year when Eric Adams said that he is getting no help from the Biden administration with this illegal immigrant situation because now the illegal immigrants that have been basically crossing this border ever since the Biden administration took power and eliminated everything that Trump was doing at the border. We have gotten literally, I think they said millions of illegal immigrants have come into this country, and now they're being bussed and flown all over the country. A lot of them have come to New York, leading to a drastically degraded quality of life here. Now, do I think that Eric Adams is corrupt? He is absolutely corrupt. I don't think he's any more corrupt than any other politician. Remember, Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York, and his grifter wife basically disappeared about $850 million that nobody can seem to find from this mental health initiative they had. So Eric Adams was very overwhelmed by the illegal immigration situation in the city and spoke out against that. Immediately, when he spoke out against this, he started being targeted. Remember, there were people in his administration that started being investigated, and now he's got these charges dropped down on him. He is being targeted not only because of the corruption, because I do believe that he's corrupt, but like I said, no more corruption than the Democrats can accept or handle. But it is specifically because he spoke out against the Biden administration's handling of the illegal immigration situation. Anybody that's spending any time in New York City knows right now that the illegal immigration situation is completely out of control. We've got gang members getting into gunfights. You know, we've got illegal immigrants all over the streets selling empanadas, selling candy, selling fruit. It's wild out there. It is more dangerous. It is dirtier. And Eric Adams said himself that this city cannot handle it. He is being retaliated against by the Biden administration's Department of Justice because he dared to speak out against them. And by the way, this is what the Democrats do to even their own when they do not toe the line. I do believe that Eric Adams really did genuinely love and care about New York City, which is why he bucked the system even to that level, even to send the Biden administration a signal to say, hey, we need some help with this situation. You need to work with us. But instead of working with him, instead of working to fix this illegal immigration situation, which is right now basically destroying one of the greatest cities in the world, they've decided to target him. So all of this stuff that we're seeing, is some of it real? Absolutely, some of it is real. But a lot of this is Eric Adams being targeted by these people because he dared to stand up against their agenda, which is basically to flood this entire country, starting with one of the greatest cities in the world with unchecked, massive illegal immigration.
Your speech remind me of Bishop Whitehead, who claimed that they were lying about him. And where is he now? You know, it says never to gloat on someone's downfall, you know, to pray about it. But honestly, you intoxicated to the people in the city of New York. I can't really say too much of the state because you basically was their bottom feeder in Westchester and upstate. But you treated the people there in NYC like crap. I never forgot when those students were protesting and they had a positive protesting. You made your guards to beat up those people, throw them in the jails, and ill-treat them when they were having peaceful demonstration because the people them did not like what they were doing because they were standing up for the people them in Gaza because they saw that genocide was happening right in front of them. Then you turn around in the beginning, had told people they had to pick a side, and if they don't pick a side, there's consequences. That's what you said. Go back to your speeches when you made those speeches while you were sitting in a room full of them, okay? When they got in trouble with that situation with the tunnel of the hole and everything, whatever happened to that case? Police officers were foot patrolling there. People were complaining that they kept on hearing noise and yelling and screaming, all that stuff. And then meanwhile, they were making tunnels, entranceways, okay? But anytime they did anything, it was an oversight. It was a bypass. A lady stood in front of you. And yes, she was angry because she got tired of the rent going up every single fucking month. You turn around and insulted the woman and say, I'm not your slave and you're not going to talk to me like that. You was pedaling back, considering the fact that there was a TV camera on. Every time when the camera was on, you was showing yourself, okay? And you was feeling yourself too. I remember when they were doing the drill rap, and I think that was the best thing that you did to get rid of drill rap because all they were doing is spearing violence. Soon as Cardi B, what's his name? what's his name, Fabio, and all the whole gang came. Not really necessarily Cardi B, but when you had all the rest of all the rappers, the ones that don't do shit for the community besides selling their drugs and then walking around and pretending like they doing something, you turn around and had a meeting and even took pictures. You was only worrying about the appearance, and the people you was rolling with, that was a primary example of the type of lifestyle you wanted to be, a wannabe, a man that you think of the hour that was doing everything. You was doing too much. You was going around increasing our rents and increasing our property taxes with the help of Kathy Holcomb and those people in that fucking upstate New York. Okay? Every time they said something, you was doing it. Okay, you never turned around and consider the fact that, the taxes and the inflation is going to halt. But at that time, you was too busy worrying. People was complaining that how the food prices were ridiculous, how this was ridiculous. And you and Kathy Holcomb could have done something. You turned around and had this big package deal, and then you went and go feed the migrants with that. Okay, all our money was gone. Certain places, roads were fixed, sidewalk was fixed, but other people's sidewalk and roads was not fixed. And then these are people that pay taxes. In my neighborhood, we asked for a 4-way stop sign to prevent these guys from drag racing and speeding. We get so much car accidents. One lady nearly got flipped over because a car decided to ran through the street sign because he claimed that the road was clear. And when we try to report that to you, you had your fucking people come there and talk about, oh, we don't need one. Okay? But Howard Beach, they got one. When they had that accident, by the next day, they got one. Their sidewalks are done and everything. You help all the people in certain areas, but with the people of black, you never help. Okay? You're supposed to help everybody. Now all of a sudden your back is against the wall. You want us to turn around and stand up 10 toes strong for you? You get the fuck out of here. No, I'm going to really say that. Okay? I'm speaking for myself because I'm speaking from personal things. People were playing radios and having music and doing their cookouts, and some disgruntled neighbor who decides to live in the area and was once living in a bougie area, which you love to gentrify. You sitting there catering to them, and then meanwhile you telling them there's no music, it has to be shut down at 11 o'clock, like we're fucking kids. Okay, if we live in our residential place or live in our apartment, we have our music on, that should not be a bother to anybody. You was doing too much. You was doing too much. I get to find out that you was also helping these developers to build up these buildings and get tax cuts. And then you getting their permits so they can hurry up and build up these buildings. But guess what? The buildings are empty because their rent is ridiculous. Who the fuck gonna rent a 1.5 bedroom that look like a size of a kitchen or a size of a bathroom for $4,000? Okay? You had your friends in public housing taking over public housing and rejecting people the opportunity to get housing, and they were putting their friends in there, and then they were getting feasible rent compared to people that have that lives in shelters and homeless that could have got a chance to get a place to live. You either turned around and gave it to people who are migrants. Oh, people didn't know about that? Every migrant, if they saw an empty place in NYCHA, if they couldn't accommodate them with asylum, they in those asylum places or rooms or shelters, they turn around and put them in those buildings and kick out the people them out. You remember when there was somebody that was doing a sketch like that? That's what they were doing. Okay? It never came on TV because guess what? Certain things he allowed to be on TV and certain things he didn't allow not to be on TV. And that's what he was doing. He was basically helping the people, okay, who have a certain type of flag that they carry proud all the time. And then the ones who gets all the benefits in this country. And then the rest of us, we would chop liver. Okay, and when they had that program to give migrants the opportunity to get houses, they already did it already. Before Kamala Harris even made that speech, they already did it already. There's a lot of things that you guys don't know what he was doing behind the scenes. But here's the thing. Out of everything he did, they catching him for campaign fraud. Because you know why? When he was running to become mayor, it was by default. Because the other one that was supposed to be running, he was a former union delegate, okay, chancellor. And all of a sudden they came up with some allegations saying some sexual harassment. Well, you look at that man, man look like he can harass anybody, even though looks can be deceiving. Anyway, long story short, he didn't have the money because he was going around asking for people for campaign and shaking hands and smiling with everybody. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he had the money and he was running a campaign. And not a lot of people went out to go vote for him. So that's how he was able enough to come in. Because people said once he was a police officer or a former police officer, they don't trust that. Because guess what? He gave the police officers a raise. But everybody else was chopped liver. He gave the police officers and the firefighters, I believe, a raise. But I know he gave the police officers a raise. But guess what? All the teachers, he cut the budget cut. He did all of these stuff. And remind you, it was not him supposed to be doing it. It's supposed to be the governor of New York. But she agreed on everything he did. She's another one that needs to step down because her people was investigation for doing fraud. These people were taking your identities and were selling it to their countries. They were washing money right in front of plain sight. These people are the reason why we're going to have more inflation in New York and New York is cash poor. Both of them should have not been fit to be governor or mayor, especially him. If the feds come for you, you're done, my brother. You're done. Now he's sitting there trying to be whole and thinking that we're supposed to stand up for him. You never stand up for people like me or even people who pretty much was beyond like me. You stand up for the people in Westchester, Long Island, and upstate New York, and the ones who had the skin color of the palm up. Okay, and they have something on their head sometimes. Okay, those are the type of people that you was dealing with. Okay, you wasn't caring about us, because if you did, you would think about us and did stuff for us, but you never did.
So this is all I got from this video, and let me start with Rob Smith. I mean, according to the indictment, they're still sealed, right? It has not been opened, but though there is a connection to, I think, Turkish funds. I think they probably gave him some funds during his own election and all that. So the indictment is in kind of tied to a Turkish, some money that he probably took from Turkish government, right? And this naughty human being is out there saying that, that he is being targeted by Joe Biden administration for speaking out against about the illegal immigrations and all that. Who told you it's about illegal immigration? I love the fact that, something that I love so much is that when some people think that they are untouchable, right? Especially when they do not care about their own people, right? I mean, it's all about every other people and like the Jews or every other person, but his own people are not taken good care of. And then because they are Democrats, because they are conservatives, because they are whatever, they think that they are untouchable. I love it when they are touched. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know how to, it's like touching a scorpion, knowing that scorpion can sting, like you decided to touch it and then it reacts, right? And I absolutely love it when it happens because it's amazing how they think we do not, we do not exist. Black people do not exist. Anything that got to do with us is nothing to talk about. They are not fair to you. They do not want to have anything to do with you and all that. But the tap dancers, I don't know what is going to happen to them. I mean, he is part of them, but I love this. It's not okay to to rejoice when something really bad happens to somebody, especially when it is their downfall and all that. But what do you expect when your hands are not clean, So what What are we supposed to do, or what am I even supposed to say to tell him, don't worry, everything is gonna be okay? He hasn't even known why he's being indicted, but he is already saying that they are after his life, or they are after him because he is a good leader, or they are, I mean, after his moral because he has a high standard moral. I love the fact that he has a high standard moral. Why did he take some money from the Turkish? You can imagine, of all people to take money from, it's not the Turkish government. Aww. I don't know why this is. I don't know why this is very hilarious, but hmm, I am not really not happy that this is happening to him because I am not supposed to rejoice, you know. But yeah, I'm still not happy though. But I am happy. Can't you see how I'm smiling? So, Mayor Adams, I like here. He doesn't even. I mean, the indictment has not even been unsealed, but he is already out there debunking whatever that is yet to come, saying that they are after his morals and they are also trying to, trying to bring down his integrity and all that. And whatever they are about to say is lie. This is to tell you how scared he is. Are you scared, Mr. Mayor Adams? If you are, why would you be scared? I thought you people are not scared of anything because you all are untouchable, because you think that your skin is immune when you know for sure that you are not even in any way immune. Like, it is really amazing how you people tap down so bad that you forgot that you are a black man. I mean, a black man in the United States that is supposed to, I don't know how to say it, but when they decide to do white things, right? And then they get caught up forgetting that some people will get away with some certain things because they got privilege and their skin got them, like, immune, and some people will never get away with it. People like him. So the way Rob never gets away with anything, you all already know that one. I just love it. So I really do look forward to the indictment being us, so we know what he did. But let's see. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.